One of the reasons that I wrote my essay on workplace bullying and started this video series was to combat what I consider to be, quite frankly, false, misleading, and sometimes dangerous information currently available on workplace bullying. The currently available advice for targets of workplace bullying amounts to what I call a two-step process. Step number 1, document. Step number 2, just don't let it get to you. Yeah. That's about it. While you're at it, why don't you do things that make you feel good? Get massages, take walks in nature, cook yourself up a nice pasta dish, and my personal favorite, talk to a friend. You can do therapy, get medicated within an inch of your life, do some yoga, and don't forget to journal. Good Lord, that's about the best that you can expect from a superficial law of attraction culture, which equates feeling good with happiness and calls it a day. Real recovery from any form of narcissistic abuse, workplace bullying or otherwise, is not about feeling good or even about happiness, but about doing the real, deep, hard, inner spiritual work, going within, turning inward to find a lasting peace. Something that no narcissist and no workplace bully will ever be able to accomplish in their lives. Let's start with the first one. Anyone who says that documenting is an effective strategy against workplace bullying is an idiot who has no idea what they're talking about, and you have my permission to clock them. Document what exactly? All the racial slurs these people put in writing in email messages sent directly to you? That doesn't happen. The whole point of workplace bullying is that it needs to be as passive-aggressive as possible so the bullies can never be called on their behavior. I was sexually harassed in the workplace for an entire year. I meticulously compiled documentation on my sexual harasser's behavior for 9 months before finally coming forward. And the minute that I did, it was all downhill from there. I was gaslighted within an inch of my life. I was made out to be the bully, and within 3 months, I was the one who was forced out of the workplace and separated from employment and income for what my sexual harasser did to me. In the United States criminal justice system, the burden of proof rests on the prosecution. My sexual harasser simply denied all of my allegations, and that was all he had to do. Documenting is nothing more than he said, she said, and documenting amounts to absolutely nothing more than glorified journaling. So you can document if you want to, but documenting does not work because there is nothing to document. The question you might ask yourself is, who are you documenting for exactly? A lot of companies don't even have HR departments, and if your boss is the bully, start looking for another job. Human resources is not your friend. It's not even human. Human resources exist for one reason and one reason only, and that is to protect the interest of the company. Human resources professionals are absolutely nothing more than glorified gossips. And I think a lot of companies should just fold the human resources department into the legal department because they effectively serve exactly the same purpose. Alternatively, companies can just pay tribute to the mafia to cut off people's fingers if they step out of line. Documenting doesn't work because any response you have to workplace bullying at all does not work. If you are not prepared to simply smile and act dumb throughout the entire ordeal, then be prepared to be blamed for the bullying. These are people who have been waiting since day one for you to have a response, any response at all, to their bullying. Workplace bullies are narcissists, and narcissists are obsessed with winning, only they can't win if there is not a fight in the first place. They are as addicted to conflict and drama as much as they are addicted to bullying. And you can see them light up like little kids on Christmas morning at the prospect of a fight. If you do or say anything in response to the bullying, it could be just one word or sometimes even just a look, because workplace bullies are that incredibly thin-skinned, then it's like game on. Workplace bullying is all about dragging you down to their level and making you as ugly as they are. If anything that you put in writing can be turned around and twisted and used against you with the usual gaslighting. You're making things up. It was all just a misunderstanding and miscommunication. It's your perception, and drum roll please, 3 words, you're too sensitive, blah, 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 etc. Documentation is ammunition for war, and we don't go to war with narcissists because guess how that's going to turn out? Narcissists live for war. Again, they've been mobilizing since day one. We've established that workplace bullies do not change and they do not feel remorse, so it's highly probable that there will never be any kind of justice or accountability, at least not in the 3D, and certainly never any kind of apology. If you're waiting for justice or accountability for narcissistic abuse in the workplace, you're going to be waiting for a long time. If you cannot win a war with a narcissistic workplace bully, then what can you do? Part of the advice for victims of any kind of abuse is not to focus on the abuser, because that's exactly what abusers want. As narcissists, they want the attention. Part of the intent of all forms of abuse is to isolate the target. So if that's the case, I don't know about you, but I'm going to take advantage of my isolation to do the only work that matters in this life or in any other, and that is the work that we do on ourselves. With no justice and no accountability, narcissistic workplace bullies leave us with no choice but to go within. Note to self: everything is self. I believe there are 2 ways to learn in this life. There is academic learning, and there is something to be said for that. And then there is learning from experience. The only reason I consider myself an expert on workplace bullying is that I lived it for almost 3 decades of my life. For the record, I prefer learning from books without the trauma. In life, there is positive and negative experience. Jupiter and Saturn, the great big fat boys, the big gassy giants of the solar system, the great benefic and the great malefic, are the good cop, bad cop routine of traditional astrology. But both are teachers with the same end. You have a choice how you want to learn. Do you want to learn from creative and empathic people who inspire you and set an example for how to be a better person in the world? Or do you want to learn from narcissists and bullies who scare us to death? Narcissists and bullies are horrifying, and not in the way that they want to. It's like, there but for the grace of God go I. God help me if I ever turn out like that. For those of you who are no stranger to my channel, you know that I am an educator, and I find it ironic that I originally devoted my essay on workplace bullying to workplace bullying in schools. Workplace bullies are our greatest teachers, but with their usual lack of self-awareness, they have no idea what they're really teaching us. Narcissists and workplace bullies teach us everything about how not to be in the world. I use the terms non-narcissist and non-bully a lot because healing from narcissistic abuse means using that experience to become the anti-narc and the anti-bully. We do not heal ourselves with intellectual knowledge. We do not heal ourselves by going on a fact-finding mission on the internet to get as much information as possible about narcissists and workplace bullies, although some of that can be interesting and some of it can be useful because, again, we use it to teach ourselves everything about how not to be in the world. So what is a narcissist? What is a bully? What does that look like? How does that present? How does that manifest? If we can get a clear definition of a narcissistic workplace bully, then all we have to do is flip it. Make an accounting ledger with red and black columns if you want to. I'm not a fan of law of attraction, but it is like a law of attraction exercise. In law of attraction, I believe instead of saying, I want a partner who does not cheat on me, you're supposed to say things like, I have a partner who is loyal, who cherishes me, who has eyes only for me. If we want to be the anti-bully, we take everything about narcissistic workplace bullies and we become the opposite. You want to win? That's how you win. That's the only way you win. How do you deal with workplace bullies? You don't. You deal with yourself. It's not about confronting the abuser. It's about confronting yourself. It's time to do an internal inventory. Go within, turn inward, clean house, do a spring cleaning, and take out the trash. It's not about eliminating narcissists and workplace bullies from our lives, but about getting rid of the bully within. Sometimes if you are a target of workplace bullying, it may very well be your karma. How have you been unkind to others or even just to yourself? Are you a butthole driver? Do you tailgate people and use your horn? Do you trash celebrities on the internet? People feel justified in doing so because celebrities have beauty and money, but you are not justified. That is a form of bullying too. Do you contribute to sexual violence against women every time you have a conversation objectifying women's bodies? Do you leave negative feedback for bad service? Again, people feel justified in doing so because they think it's not only excusable but also helpful. It's not. That's the level of negativity that you do not need in your life. Do you hold your nose when you think others smell bad? Do you complain about your neighbors? Do you take out your stress and pain on people you love or people who are just nice? It's not about victim blaming and shaming, but about personal accountability. So what is a workplace bully exactly? What does that look like? How does that manifest? How does that present? Workplace bullies are horrifically insecure people who have to project their insecurities onto other people because they cannot heal them. Workplace bullies are threatened, challenged, and intimidated on the slightest hairline trigger. Workplace bullies are attention demanding, have to be the center of attention at all times, will not take no for an answer, refuse to be ignored, and will not leave other people alone. Workplace bullies do not respect other people's boundaries because they themselves have no boundaries. Workplace bullies have to be not only number one, but the only one. Workplace bullies are defined by pathological jealousy. They compare themselves to other people and compete over the stupidest, pettiest, and most trivial stuff you could possibly imagine. Workplace bullies always have to be right and have the last word. Workplace bullies enjoy hurting other people. They feel entitled to hurt other people. They want and need to hurt other people because that's the only way that they can feel good about themselves or indeed feel anything at all. Workplace bullies are people who have let the pain of life turn them into ugly people. They may have won the battle, but they have lost the war. A workplace bully is a dark, ugly, low-level spirit and a black heart and soul. So what is a narcissist? What does that look like? How does that present? How does that manifest? Narcissism remains poorly understood by many people, including some in the mental health profession. A narcissist is not some guy who looks good or who talks only about himself. Narcissists believe that their desires are more important than other people's rights. Narcissists fear emotional intimacy. Narcissists live exclusively in the eyes of other people. They are 100% externally focused and cannot go without attention or supply from other people any more than you can go without air to breathe. And a narcissist is death. Narcissists are dead souls with zero connection to spirit. So if you want to be the anti-narc and the anti-bully, all you have to do is be a beautiful spirit. Be the child of God that you are with a rich internal life. Crappy childhood? Join the club. Get in line. I was abused too. The whole point is to not let ugly people make you as ugly as they are. That's all you have to do. So that's an introduction to how to deal with workplace bullying. If you'd like to read more, I've written an essay on workplace bullying. It's on my website. I include that information in the description. The reason I create this video series is to establish a forum where targets of workplace bullying can share their stories and experiences in a kind of support group so you can know, number one, you're not crazy. Workplace bullying is real and your feelings are perfectly valid and justified. And number two, you're not alone. Unfortunately, countless others have experienced the same thing. So I look forward to reading your comments and I'll try to respond. Take care.